Good morning, family. It's great to see all of you. Great to be here. It's an honor to be here. I've got a few pictures I can share. But I would like to say that it's always a challenge for me to go to Korea because I'm representing the entire district, all of you. And honestly, it's a challenge to be able to encapsulate 2 weeks of experience there, which it was this time, into something powerful and useful for your life. So please forgive me if this short presentation doesn't really convey the depth of the experience, and primarily the love of true parents. It was every time I go, it's a profound experience. This time it was even more powerful. Reverend Oliver's sermon title today, Moving Forward, really is accurate and appropriate, because it feels like there's a new time in our life, new energy in the providence, and it's a time of fruition. We're beginning to see the fruits of years of love, of service, struggle, difficulty, and overcoming. And I feel like more and more what we think and what we do brings immediate response, immediate fruits, a response from the spirit world, a response from the material world. I think we're speeding up the providence. So when True Mother was talking about 2020 and wanting to have 7 nations that are aligned with true parents, 7 providential nations that will connect to God's providence and then therefore transmit it to the entire world. It's a big vision, but after 2 weeks in Korea, it's more believable than ever to me, because we had deep experiences in many realms. And first of all, it comes on the foundation of true parents' love and service. And one of the most remarkable aspects of that is the blessing for us. And I'm grateful that you have a couple here that could receive the blessing, that your church could host them. I know that when we do this, it creates an incredible warmth and energy. It's a very powerful experience to be able to share the blessing with other people. And this is just the beginning, I feel. I was grateful that, out of the 6 churches in our district, the Washington, D.C. Church and the New Hope Church in Maryland could host blessings. And both communities, I've heard already, had a very deep experience. It's a very legitimate source of pride for an offering from the community to host a blessing and participate in the transformation of life. So Chungpyeong is an amazing place. It changes, it improves. It's really a different environment every time I go. And I can't convey that environment, but I certainly encourage you any way possible to go there as an individual, or take your whole family if possible. Alternatively, in my experience, the International Peace Education Center in Las Vegas is a very powerful place to experience a similar spirit. Chungpyeong is over 6,500 acres of land. And more you see, as you can see, there's development now. Some of us went in the late 90s to Chungpyeong when Mrs. Amrine would take groups of us for 10 days. And it was nothing like this. In fact, it looked like mud usually when I was there. So it was very different. Where we lived in tents. Couldn't take a shower but once a week. But there's a lot of changes. There's beautiful buildings. and it reflects the love of God, the love of true parents. And this is, for me, it was a very beautiful environment. Every day there was a constant experience in gratitude that indeed true mother loves me. And I think anyone who goes to Chungkyung would feel the same way. It's a really powerful part of the spiritual experience there, regardless of your purpose for going. You know, we went as leaders representing the United States. There's 14 districts now in the United States. And of course, Dr. Kim, Dr. Balcom, and Dr. Jenkins were there representing the U.S. as well. It's quite a bit of activity. So many things reflect true mother's love. It really is like a motherly environment of compassion, of comfort, hope, but also as we see in her speeches, you know, mother's really, she wants to see results. She wants to see us working together to be able to create harmony within our mind and body, within our families, within our church communities, and far beyond that. This time, Mother mentioned that Chungkyung should be for everybody. Our worldwide church membership should not be the limit of those invited or excited to attend True Parents and the Chungkyung experience. And one thing I wanted to touch on was the Top Gun. 26 different nations were participating. And these are young people, not all, and again, this is a remarkable thing. From Virginia, one brother, Emmanuel, went to the last Top Gun in the last autumn. And this time, Clifford Gaines from Atlanta, Georgia. Many of us know that under the Love and Life, he became pastor of the Atlanta church. And there was a change, but I was so delighted to see that someone who's held previously a church leadership position would show up at Chungkyung. Mostly the Top Gun is second generation unificationists, but not entirely. And again, it's open to more. And the Top Gun experience was very profound, very encouraging, because the American delegation attended the graduation ceremony, and they had their testimonies, their victory stories, a very beautiful experience of over 90 young people spending time together studying, working, but also creating relationships with God and true parents and with each other that enable them to have a whole new perspective on their life and on the potential that they can experience day by day wherever they go. And there was a significant contingent from Africa, Asia, and the United States. And it was very moving that True Mother asked some of the American brothers who'd been organizing the previous Top Gun workshop to do it again. So again, this is a real change we can see practically. That Mother trusts young people who can demonstrate ability, compassion, and love, and that heart of service can be expanded, because it's a challenge, to organize a program for 90 people and to enable them to truly experience God. Very grateful. It's the second time I've done this. Brothers and sisters within various communities contact me before I go to Chungkyung for various reasons, and I invite all of you to contact me if you need to, for whatever reason you have. But last year I took 3 computers and a camera to Kenya. Brothers who were representing them recently. And then this time, Ashil asked me to carry 3 computers, laptops. It's interesting, that for us, You know, we have such a high turnover of technology, it's very easy to have perfectly fine equipment that can be used somewhere else that, you know, because of our rapid advances, you know, it might not have an HDMI port or whatever, so, you know, it's not really what we need for our work. But in other parts of the world, it's extremely valuable. So I was very happy. Now, you know, when I got to Chungkyong, I got there at 1 in the morning, and all I had was a name. Sheila had said, please look up this brother, he's in Top Gun, Ernest. And of course, it's easy to remember the name, but there's about 10,000 people when I got to Chungkyong. And at 6:20 in the morning, I met him. You know, this is part of the experience at Chungkyong that I encourage you to partake whenever you can, because it's like spirit world sometimes. If you want to do something sincerely, it happens right away. I couldn't believe it, because I had no picture of who he was. I'd forgotten his last name. And he and I just met in the dining hall, which was packed with people. But right away, we connected. It was just terrific. Great way to begin. But I'd like for you to read also related to that, this testimony. It's just real quick, but it really shows the heart of true parents being conveyed to the second gen, to young leaders who are going to be guiding our movement in the future, which is not so far away. So he said, at first I didn't understand what this workshop was all about, but one sentence that True Mother shared really struck me, because True Mother spoke with them directly several times. She said, when I look at you, I'm amazed by how, in such a little time, you have grown so much in heart. In the gratitude activity that we did at the end of the workshop, I saw this to be true. And I was amazed by how much love and appreciation I felt for people I didn't even know 3 weeks ago. I am so grateful that Global Top Gun is really about learning more about the culture of heart, that the lectures were more about getting us to feel the truth. I have a feeling that this is not the end, that we're not closing, but beginning something. And this is a representative testimony from the Top Gun experience. And again, you know, if you have some will, or you have young people in your community that you want to send, you know, it's not hard to collect $1,000. You know, honestly, if you just think, you know, there are 52 weeks in a year, if I save $20 a week, or our community can contribute to a fund, you know, there's what, 50 people in this room, maybe more. You know, if every person gave $1 a week to a special fund for supporting young people to go to Chungkyong, you know, you'd have plenty of money to be able to send someone, even on short notice. And honestly, sometimes these events are created on short notice. At the same time, you know, you might use the fund to send a couple to Chungkyong for a workshop or for this kind. Honestly, I think that for the future, we're going to see an open invitation to the world to come to Korea to celebrate True Parents' birthday for 2 weeks, from True Parents' birthday to Foundation Day. I think this is going to be a new standard in our church community. And so already, my experience there, I really felt I want to take my whole family to go. There are many reasons. Some are spiritual and some are practical. I'd like to just continue with a little bit of commentary on Chungkyong itself, the workshops that they did there. You know, for the longest time, we had certain representatives of heaven, a spiritualist. You know, Mrs. Kim was representing Daemonim, and Hunjanim were guiding the workshops. But that's changed. Mrs. Kim has stepped back because True Father's in the spirit world. They were representing True Father. There's no need to represent him anymore because he's there. And so the spirit there is very clear when you go. It feels very clean, and also it's very easy to talk to God. I've never had such deep prayers walking up through the trees. It used to be a path, now it's a road that goes up to the top of a very high hill. tremendously from there. It's not the highest peak, but from that point, you have a sense of looking down and seeing something vast. And at the same time, I think your heart opens up in that beautiful nature, and it's very easy to experience God. Also, there are so many events in this 2-week period. I think Mother was doing something every day, and speaking somewhere every day. It was quite a busy time, so many activities. One very significant one was the ILC, the International Leadership Conference. That was a new level in the UPF activities. They've been able to create relationships with politicians and peacemakers and religious leaders around the world. This time there were over 150 current political leaders who were representing their countries, their cities, their states, invited to these meetings, and the meetings were of real substance this time. Began with talking about climate change, and then switched to even more critical and powerful program about, and it took up this, when we attended, most of the day was talking about unification of North and South Korea, relationships between North and South Korea, and it's very nice to see there are a lot of people who have a real principled view, who are not, members of our church, but they have a real sense that the world needs to be operating according to heaven's standard of proper relationship, respect for each other, willingness to serve each other, willingness to give without expecting return. So that was very motivating. Another day we went to the DMZ, right up to the line. You could look across, lots of barbed wire, good many soldiers all around, and you really feel that even though it was kind of a countryside, it wasn't peaceful. There's definitely some tension there. And began the Peace Road. 2016 began, even though it was a very cold morning there. It had snowed the day before, and then still there wasn't much snow on the ground where we were, so they were able to ride bikes to begin the Peace Road event. The blessing ceremony again, beautiful experiences here and there. You saw the pictures. The stadium was just totally packed. So many people attend and celebrate, and it's a very beautiful experience. One other new development there is the Heaven G Burger. G stands for Gung, which means palace, which means heaven and earth. The heaven and earth hamburgers. There's a circular building. You can't really see it in the photos here, but it used to be a functional building for the water system in the Chongpyeong Valley. It was built by our church. It's been transformed into a very elegant restaurant, but the sign outside looks like a regular burger sign. It says Heaven G Burger. It looks like a McDonald's or a Wendy's or a Carl's Jr. sign. It's even got, like a 200, the bulbs and the light goes on at night. It's very dramatic. But inside it's got like Brazilian polished wood floors, and very fine tableware, silverware for your, but they only sell one thing, one hamburger. There's no options, just one hamburger, no fries. You pay $10 and you get one big hamburger. Looks similar to a Big Mac, but definitely tastes better. Definitely. Mother created a recipe for the meat, and it comes with a pretty big bun. But it's a real treat there. Mother has a sense that she wanted that to be created for people who come from around the world, and they want more than just Korean food when they're at Chongpyeong. So we had those burgers for breakfast, for lunch, for snacks, for dinner. The first time in my life. Usually when I go to Korea, I yearn real big piece of meat and something like American style food. But after about 10 days, I didn't want another burger. But one reason was they weren't always served hot, because if you're serving 5,000 burgers prepared from 2 o'clock in the morning and you're eating one for breakfast or one for lunch, it's hard to keep it hot. Excuse me. They're each individually wrapped in a beautiful wrapper. But the last day, we actually went to, I'd never been to the actual building where they serve them, so we went there, just a few of us, on the very last day I was there, and it was so good, hot, I ate 2 of them. So I encourage you to go and have that experience yourself. But one other point is very important to know, that the love of true parents is so profound and it's realized in many ways, and it's amazing to the world and all of us, I'm sure, is this year, True Mother dedicated $10 million for scholarships to young people around the world. So if you have some interest in studying in college or getting an advanced degree, there may be scholarships available. In Virginia, there's a couple of brothers last year who went to Sun Moon University for 5 years, 1 year to study Korean and 4 years of academic work. Everything's paid for except your airfare, and spending money. But it's an amazing, and there's no, you just have to maintain your grades. There's no demand that, if you join the Army in the United States, they'll pay for your college, but it's a 1-for-1 trade at minimum. If you go to school, you have to serve an additional year for that. Of course, they pay you, but it's definitely an exchange. But these scholarships are pretty much, we're offering a gift of education, trusting that you'll become a citizen of the world, not a selfish person. So it's a beautiful experience, great opportunity, and as you can see the numbers, and it's $10 million. There are about 2,000 people who attended a ceremony with True Mother. There are 2,000 awardees. Not all of them showed up, but almost all of them did. And it's just an amazing opportunity within our church community. And you may know that the University of Las Vegas, a similar scholarship is available. You maintain good grades, you can attend there. I understand University of Hawaii also, beautiful environment in Honolulu. I think there's scholarships available there as well. So these are all manifestations of true parents' love for us and our opportunity. And again, as the sermon title was, moving forward, there really is a time of harvest, I feel, coming. The more and more we can create a real environment. So I strongly encourage all of us to work toward tribal messiahship. We've got an incredible opportunity there. When you think about it, so many things we've done in our life up until this point are our effort according to the direction of Father, church leaders. But now it really is our opportunity to find people we want to spend time with on earth and in heaven, working together. It's really joyful. So, the artistic among us, you can focus on artists. You can create bands and whatever, realm of interest that you have. That can be, to me, it's a very strong motivating point to be able to connect with people I really admire, I really want to work with, because there's no limitation. And the great thing is everybody in the world really needs the love of true parents. And as we grow and become the manifestation of that ourselves, more and more people will be excited to be around us, to be with us. So again, I thank you for your time. I'm grateful that I could represent you. I really pray that that experience that you gain from the videos, from this short presentation, can give you power, energy, give you hope. God bless you all.
Thank you.